Yes, yes. Or he tells me, what are you doing to be putting me?
Year one.
Our 11 o'clock break is now over. Ms. Payne, the next item on the agenda.
Is facility services. Ernest?
Ernest, welcome.
Judge, Commissioners, how y'all?
Hey, Ernest.
The morning, yeah, still morning.
So I'm gonna go over a few points, just kind of get you up to speed on some of the things that we are seeing, and then I'm gonna turn everything over to my Assistant Director, Matt Mayo. So this being a new process again this year compared to what we've done in the past, a little bit of history on some of the things that we have experienced. Like, we're presenting today our year one capital projects, and included in that is also going to be some of our non-capital projects that I believe we're going to present to you guys on Thursday during our operation and maintenance project. So a quick recap of that. I mean, this is $400,000 roughly of projects. Our year one non-capital in our 5-year plan is $2.2 million worth of projects. And when Matt hands you guys this presentation here, you're going to have that information. If you look through there, you can see our 5-year plan. It goes all the way out 6 years, and it's roughly $52 million worth of projects we see coming in the next 5 or 6 years. Of mechanical systems, life safety systems, building envelope issues, everything is pretty much condensed into that project, into that 6-year plan. And we started the 5-year plan somewhere around 2012, and it has grown each year after that. The problem with it is when you turn in your year one projects, there's only funding available for a portion of your year one projects. So then what happens to the ones that aren't funded are kicked to the next year, and it is truly a living document that continues to move and shuffle as things become more important or less important. Factor into that new problems and things that come up throughout the year that you have to plug into the calendar somewhere, at least having a plan on when you're going to do it. A lot of people like to kick around the phrase deferred maintenance. And the definition is as postponed or delayed. And I have always thought that phrase was, especially when it comes to our maintenance department, is a little bit misleading. I think it should be called unfunded maintenance, because very rarely have we turned in 10, 12 projects for year one. Have we ever gotten funding for all 12 of those projects? And we understand there's only one pie. Everybody has to try to figure out how to get their slice that they need. And so the problem with that becomes, not only do you have to figure out which wheel do I have to grease, which one's the loudest right now, you have to figure out how to move things down in the progression of your 5 and 6 year plan. And we've joked for years, Eric and I, Parthena and I, we've always tried to joke with one another who's getting the biggest piece of the pie, because there's not enough pie to go around for everyone. And you'll see that if you take this information home, or whenever you get time to look through some of it, there's a lot out there in the next 5 or 6 years we're going to need. So I'll go ahead and turn this over to Mr. Matt Mayo, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Ernest. Matt?
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners.
Good morning.
Got a handout.
Jeez.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you for compiling this.
Yeah, we've compiled this packet, in my opinion, is to, provide a clear and concise way to bring the field into the courtroom. And we've added pictures in there. You know, pictures are worth 1,000 words on a lot of these. And to give you an idea of what we're speaking of when we do bring them to your attention. The first item that we have is the landscape department is wanting to add a 36-inch stand-on mower to our fleet. Currently, you know, we have larger machines that do not allow access to some of the smaller confined areas inside courtyards, and also some of our mechanical yards where mowing with a weed eater or a typical walk-behind mower is very labor intensive and contributes to fatigue, which can cause accidents. This is allow them to move around and enter and exit the machine a lot faster when they're picking up debris in the way of their mow path. And that's our first request for your consideration, is to add this new mower to our fleet. We currently do not have one that it is this way or this narrow, and we have been using weed eaters in lieu of one of these.
Commissioners, any questions?
Any questions?
On the mower? No, thank you, Matt.
The next item for consideration is the man lift for ceiling work. And this would primarily be for what the picture depicts, is that is one of our detention center housing dorms. There's lots of tables that are in the way, and the current machine that we use requires us to pull every one of these tables out to do any work above the table. And this particular lift here, which is on the next additional pages, shows you kind of what it is. And it will allow us to get up 25 feet to work on ceiling tiles, light fixtures, and also some of the life safety devices, smoke detectors, and the fire system, the wet fire system we have in that facility. We'll also be able to use this machine. We have the capability of moving it around the county for other areas, especially in this atrium outside of this courtroom. It's really high, and we've had to rent these in the past. And one of the biggest concerns is when we have time available to rent one may not be in line with when we have the time to do it. So having one on site would allow us the ability to dictate when we do it and in a more timely manner, and not having to schedule it so far out in advance.
Matt, that's a battery operated,
Yes, it is.
and I'm sure the life on the, not the battery, but the machine itself is probably very long.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a durable good, so it's going to last a long time if well maintained.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Is it replacing, no, it's additional.
It's an
lift.
additional, yes. We have a
Okay.
scissor lift currently. It's about 8 feet long and 36 inches wide. This one here is a third shorter and goes up the same height of 25 feet.
Very good. Thank you.
Can I get you to adjust that mic just a little closer to you? That's
Okay.
thank you.
How's that?
Much better.
Much better.
Sorry. First time up here, I'm doing this, so.
You're doing great.
All good.
Way better than Trevor.
The next item is the additional boiler for the health district. Currently, the one that's in place replaced a much larger and older style, and the newer ones are a much smaller, condensed version of a boiler and allow for a lot more efficiency. But we only have one, and this request would be to add an additional one for redundancy. And one of the things about redundancy is that you can shut down equipment and maintain it more properly when you're not impacting the hot water system as a whole. And when you do the shutdowns, you're doing without the hot water if you only have one boiler operating that system. And having one in the event of a mechanical failure or a part failure, you're leaving yourself open for, a vulnerability to lose the building due to freezing temperatures. And if we have two, that's twice the likelihood that we will be able to weather the storm. So. The next item, any questions on that one?
Proceed. You're good.
Proceed.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. The next item is also part of an hydronic system. It's the additional heating pump for the courthouse. If you'll look at the picture behind that one, you'll see that there's two boilers, but we have one pump, that big red device that's got the piping going to it. And again, it's also redundancy. We've had times where the pump has gone down, and it usually goes down in the most inopportune times and usually in the worst temperatures. And then it's a mad rush to get it back up. If we had two of them, then, the service can be segregated into one while the other one is functioning in its place, and vice versa. And we can lead and lag those pumps so that they always are at top notch when they're both needed or desired. One of the things that that caused this issue is a term called value engineering. And value engineering, the definition is a systematic analysis of functions of various components and materials to lower costs of goods, products, and services with a tolerable loss of performance or functionality. A value defined as the ratio of function to cost. And this was a victim of value engineering, because if you look at the HVAC control system as a whole, it's comprised of many systems that are each individual systems that all must function in a choreographed theatrical way. The cooling side has two pumps. The cooling for the chillers has two pumps, but our heating water only has one pump. And we would like the court to consider approving this so that we can add an additional pump for redundancy in the courthouse.
Commissioners, any questions?
Thanks, Matt.
The next one is over at our Brazos County Detention Center. It's a sidewalk continuation. If you'll look at the pictures in the packet, you'll see that we have a sidewalk that stops and doesn't continue. And the only way to get to this area with a cart is to go all the way around. But in the time of the jail functioning, the jail has added a rec yard in the only door that we were able to take carts through. So you either have to come downstairs or drag the carts through this grassy area, which is at times wet. And, we've had one or two people slip pulling the carts through this wet, soggy ground. And we would like to add a sidewalk that would connect this to this exterior door so that we can have a quicker way and a quicker response time to take care of our tasks and calls at the jail. There's a lot of traffic damage. The picture was taken just recently, and we haven't had a lot of traffic with carts, but we do walk across that, and then we do track it in other places. And it would be nice to have that so that we can get to this side of the building in a much more efficient manner. Otherwise, we have to walk all the way around with carts or with buckets with tools in hand.
Matt, is it also a security issue?
Yes and no. Adding this right here allows us to have a faster way to it. And also when the officers do their walks, they're having to walk in this grass. The little small strip of concrete looks deceiving on its width, but that's a mow strip designed to keep mowers and stuff outside of the building footprint, so that there's less likelihood of it being contacted with a lawnmower.
Yes, Ms. Payne?
This might be a Trevor question, but is this part of the deferred maintenance that we're going up for the sheriff's office in the jail currently? Oh,
What did he say?
he said, yes, we can add to that list as well as the ADA compliance aspect of it. Yes, okay. I just wanted y'all to know that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mhm.
Thank you, Nina. The next item, any questions on that last one? Sorry.
Go ahead, Matt.
Okay. We have a Highway 21 shop for our landscaping at 4801 West Highway 21. It was a property that was purchased, and we just took over an existing property with existing fences and gates and traffic control measures. We would like to add a motorized gate opener, possibly connect it to our HID system or our velocity system. But if that's not possible, just get, local remotes to open it up like a garage door, but to operate a linear gate. And that would be part of the next topic too, is the replacing of the fence and gate, because the gate is in pretty bad repair. It was an existing gate to our takeover of the property, and we would like to add that. And the reasons for this is because as you come up to the gate, if you're an employee and you've got a trailer on, you've got to stop, manually untie the gate with a chain and lock, open the gate, drive it through, and then once you come through, get out, close the gate behind you if no one is behind you, and then dummy lock it or padlock it behind you while you exchange equipment, load material, and sometimes they're doing it, by themselves. So it's a good idea to close the fence behind you so no one follows you in. And sometimes when they're loading material, they're operating equipment where you would not know or hear anybody who had followed in behind you if the gate was left open after you had pulled through. And we just would like to add that so that we can more quickly enter and exit the property and our material yard, and to protect the assets from exposure to those who would try to take them from us.
So are those two separate bids, or is that going to
It's-
be one bid? Looking at the photographs that you presented, it looks like the other three fences are not that secure.
Correct. The first one would be just for the operator on the gate, if that was all that we got. But the second bid, the replacing of the fence, is that the property is fenced on two sides and relies on the adjoining property or the neighboring property fence line to dictate the boundary. The rearmost second side fence is a poorly maintained barbed wire fence separating that property, and the neighboring property is also a poorly maintained barbed wire fence, and that the new neighbor has utilized that property for a flea market. We've had issues where people will cross over that poorly maintained fence and just have a look on county property. So if we could get some kind of visual deterrent, put a chain link fence completely around it, that would ensure that our stuff is protected and preserved.
Matt, you're talking a taller fence?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically it would be like the ones that you see partially completed. This will be in addition to and up against the neighbor fence. But it being a flea market next door, there's lots of people that come by, and a lot of opportunity for things to be scoped out and come back later when no one's around.
Commissioners, any questions? In regards to the last two items? There
Not
being
for
none?
me.
Well, thank y'all for considering these items, and
Matt, Ernest, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
thank you.
I'll tell you one more thing.
Please.
Hang on that book, because we're gonna need it Thursday.
Yes.
Do what about the book?
I've
Bring
added
it-
the
bring it on
extra, the
Thursday.
non-capital in here. And if you know, you can look through it, it's pretty interesting. It gives you a better idea of what it is that we do and terms that we throw around. It'll kind of help you understand what it is that we're referring to.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Uh,
Ms. Payne?
Before we start with the sheriff's office, Eric Cottle with IT wanted to make one little comment real quick.
Eric, welcome back.
Yes, 30 seconds, 30 minutes.
Judge and Commissioners, I failed to mention something regarding the 911 CAD upgrade project. The number that we submitted, 178.5, we are actually going to, that number will be $519.56 short.
What?
911 CAD? Yes, we are going to need 179.019.56.
So you need 180?
Okay. However, what I really wanted to point out to you, Judge and Commissioners, is that that figure also includes 22,700 and some change that is actually directly attributable to the VFDs, volunteer fire departments. And so it's unclear to me whether or not the county would be covering that cost, or if that is a cost that the VFDs themselves would have to cover. And so that's something that we need to discuss. Okay? Okay? Thank you.
Eric, thank you for that.
Okay, now the sheriff's office is willing to come up. Lieutenant House?
Morning, Judge. Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
So we've, for the last couple of years, been able to use the rural law enforcement grant funds to reduce a lot of this capital stuff. So I'm up here with just two things for you today. So hopefully I can keep it fairly short. The first one, can you click over, Nina? Thank you. There we go. All right, so the first one is a special response vehicle storage building. This building we asked for in FY20, for the FY25 year. It got pushed back on the projects list, and so we're asking to roll that over again. We still need that building. Currently, we have one building up on top of the hill by the low-risk facility that we are housing some of this stuff in, as well as mowers and things like that. And the only thing holding that building together is hope at this point. It's pretty bad, and so that will be replaced, or we'll be using that to replace this building, to replace that building, as well as add additional storage for things like our larger vehicles that we need to find some way to protect. So you guys, we spent a lot of money on those cars, and they are just sitting out in the elements exposed. We don't really have a way to store them safe by the sheriff's office. Y'all have any questions on that
Questions?
one?
Commissioners?
None.
Not at this time.
Okay. And then the second one here is the public safety camera system. So we're using Flock as the kind of the example here, but we will have to go through the process of selecting and doing all of that stuff. But what these are mobile cameras essentially that will place in high crime rate areas, high traffic areas, things like that, that we can monitor license plates that are coming in and going out of those areas. And so this camera system and these camera systems and ALPRs are becoming more and more common. You guys are seeing more and more on the news.
Yeah, I think four of us up here saw a demonstration
Fantastic.
a week or two ago.
So we don't have them right now in Brazos County?
We don't
Bryan,
have
the city of
we don't have
Bryan
this
has them.
system. The city of Bryan has them, and the city of College Station are picking up. So this would be our initial buy-in to the system.
But ours will be more out in the county?
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
we would have the ability to place, so with this initial buy-in that we're looking at, we want to get around 10 cameras that we can put out into our neighborhoods and places like that. to start us off with, and then with that also comes the subscription to gain access to the intelligence from the
So we would
entire
have access to
nationwide
all the
system.
servers,
Yes, sir, yep.
not
Yeah.
only in the entire county with the 2 cities, but
Right,
across
right.
the
The
nation.
software.
Across the nation,
The
correct.
software they're attached to it for us
Yes.
to be able to see what we're looking at.
Absolutely.
Are those
yeah.
mobile cameras?
I say mobile, they're stationary, but we can move them around as we
They're not
need to. They're not
hardwired?
like, no, sir. Not like, they're not like a trailer, but it is, you basically install a pole and put it up, but it's battery, it's, cellular service.
Can we install some of them in the garage?
They're only good for license plates, so, at this point, some of that's changing, but right now, it's just license plates essentially. Like I said, I would keep it fairly short and simple.
Absolutely, no, the flock system is pretty amazing. We enjoyed that
Yep.
demonstration that we got to witness. Yes, Ms. Payne?
Yeah, it's amazing in a little bit because it seems so invasive. It's, Big Brother is watching us now.
So I'm going to ask a hard question.
What?
Will we have to create positions in the years to come to manage the system?
Good question. No. This system is actually going to feed straight into the real-time crime center system that we're already using. It's basically a database at that point. All of the installation and all that stuff, again, going through Flock, if that becomes the vendor, maintenance, all of that is done by them. We wouldn't be doing really anything for it.
So no new positions for this whole system?
Correct.
Speak out.
Yeah, no new positions, not for this.
We'll get you on the record.
You're saying there are other
We are
vendors?
on the record, no new positions.
So we saw the presentation for Flock. You're saying there are other vendors?
There are some other vendors. I hate to mention one of their
Right.
names.
This
but,
is,
there
so
are some.
what does Bryan College Station use? They
They're-
use Flock?
They're Flock.
Okay,
Yep. Yeah, I think most likely we end up with Flock, but
because it'll all synchronize, it'll all sync
correct.
together.
But we have to go, we have the process to go through.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I wondered if we had that system, representative.
I want to make a note, this is a first-year sheriff's office, is not requesting personnel. Okay.
You know what I heard
Should we
about the
applaud
sheriff's
that?
office? Yeah.
In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and invite Jill up here, and then we're going to take lunch, and so speak fast.
Who?
Jail's
coming
taking everybody to lunch? What?
The sheriff's office is.
Hello, Judge, Commissioners. Yeah, I've only got about an hour of a presentation, so it should be,
Change the screen.
We'll be here for the
Nina,
first 10 minutes of it.
Nina.
that's fine, I'm used to it, so yeah.
Hey, Chief, how you doing?
I'm well, thank y'all. So digging right into it, feasibility study is basically stems from a recommendation of our analysis that we got done on staffing and just some things that came to light about our jail population. And so the feasibility study is intended to plan and is for planning and designing of new housing units for the jail facility. And one thing I wanted to mention about this is that it is a specialized, I know there's a project going on right now assessing all the county buildings. And so this is a more specific study. I'm sorry? Yeah, for growth. And so this may one day become part of that. It may be more efficient to be part of that study, and that's fine, but we wanted to leave it on there because it is not accounted for in whatever that funding is. And so the general idea is just building something so significant it takes years to plan and to do right. And so do you have any questions about that one specifically, besides
Yes,
Nina?
we do. Ms. Payne has a question. But any commissioners?
Can you explain to them what is the capacity of the jail and what our average inmate population is currently?
So our actual bed space capacity is about 1,089 beds, and we currently have 750 inmates roughly in jail. About a year ago, we were at 860. And so the real important number to keep in mind is it's typically when you get within 90% of your capacity, you're really that's about as full as you can get because of classification. Not everybody can be housed together. Males, females, minimum security inmates versus maximum. There's some more problematic things. It's not just a one for one. So when you start getting close to 900-ish, is where it gets problematic. But in reality, a lot of our beds, about 120 of them are in a low-risk facility, so it's not in the same building. And so those aren't staffed at the moment. And so we're kind of getting where we're getting to the actual true 90%. And what I mean by that is if we do start getting more full, yes, we have some beds at that low-risk facility, but then we have to staff that area, and it doesn't count towards our staffing ratios in the main building. And that takes about 3 people, 24 hours a day. That's 15 staff. It's really expensive. So that's just a side note to keep in mind. I know there's a lot of different factors that go into decisions that y'all make, but it's not ideal. We'd much rather have everything under one roof but it just false impression a little bit about how long we have to keep going. We do have some beds, but we'd have to put some more people over there. That's the point that I'm making. Clear as mud, Nina?
Oh, I know.
Did I clear it up? But that's,
Make a word to the public regarding why the need for this.
yeah, we're just getting, it's just, and it goes along with population increase, the incarceration increase. And something else to keep in mind is we have bail reform, a lot of bail reform coming down the line. And some of that includes, potentially not having bonds for people that are violent offenders. And so that means that they, instead of being out on bond, they stay in jail. Just kind of a moving target, but it behooves us to stay ahead of it years in advance. And this is a lot of money, but all that planning saves money down the road, so you don't build something that we end up having to make changes or adjustments to. And
Now, I
and things
appreciate
like
the
that.
clarification, because I do think that the general public thinks, last week's inmate population was under 800, and we've got 1,100 beds, close to 1,100 beds, so we're good. And people don't understand those details
Yeah.
about separate populations and degrees of violence, and, yeah.
All right, thank you.
And unfunded mandates because of the bail changes that are maybe coming down from the Texas legislature, right?
Yeah, and it's just something to keep in mind. It's, it's just a moving target sometimes. When we were at 860, nobody really knows why we were at 860. But if we don't do something and we say, for instance, have to send inmates to another county to house them because we don't have enough space,
That's expensive.
it's a real pain, and it's very, very, a lot
Expensive.
more expensive than that,
Right.
for one thing. And, but also, we went for a long time with our population being pretty steady. It wasn't climbing. And so it's just things, but, so you take some risk the longer that you wait.
The judge and I never voted for any of those unfunded mandates, just so we can be clear.
I understand. That's what,
Right?
Correct.
and I didn't say that word, so,
I did. I did,
thank you.
because it's true.
Yeah, it's good intentions sometimes have consequences that we don't realize.
Dang
And so-
legislature.
And they're in session. Be wary.
All right, so that's the gist of that. It's just a lot of money to plan to spend less money later. And
But
it's-
necessary,
Yeah,
in your opinion, correct?
yeah, absolutely necessary. Because otherwise, I wouldn't be here asking y'all for it, because there's a lot of things that y'all have to consider. We know how important it is, and so we're just asking for what we need. So that brings me to the next good news on here. Is these 2 additional transport vehicles. I want to take those off, strike those from our requests. We were able to, we got some funding from the legislature this time, with Senate Bill 22, and we had some projects move around, so we're able to get those units through that Senate Bill 22 money this year.
Excellent.
So I just took $149,000 off of our request, to make sure that's down for the record. All right. But I mean, and that's another thing is just, we're planning this way in advance and sometimes things change and, the way that the sheriff's office operates, we're always going to do what's in the best interest of the community. And that, that does involve safety, but it's also being good stewards of the county's finances. So I'm not going to ask for something we don't need. So the rest of the things on here are really, not that exciting. There's a hot water pressure washer replacement. That's just equipment that work crew, our inmate work crews do a lot of different jobs helping maintain some of our buildings and some of the other county buildings. And so that's just a tool that they need to help keep some of those areas clean and prolong the life out of some of our equipment and spaces that we use. And the dump trailer is just a dump trailer that they need to be replaced. They use road and bridge and different projects. The Expo Center, they have a trailer that they dump materials from, and they've had one now, and they need a replacement for it. So that's just something that's come up. It's a fairly small amount of money, and the medication inventory management system is actually, really it's not going into our budget, but so that's going to be moved, but it is something that's important, and that was, we recently had, I know y'all are all aware, we had this medical assessment come through, and it's just something that's a high liability area is managing medication for the inmates, knowing what the inventory is and who's getting it. There's a lot of chain of custody type things, if you want to think of it that way. And so $8,000 is the ask for that. And again, that's to me, $8,000 is a lot, but for what we're getting and the protection that we're getting from liability, it's really it just speaks for itself. It's not that big of a ask for what we're gaining from it.
Commissioners, any questions? Chief Stewart?
No.
None for me.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All
Ken.
Right, well done.
Thank y'all. Got
Thanks
out
for
before
that
noon.
extra 149.
149,000. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. We'll see you later this week.
Chief is correct regarding the medical inventory management system. As we're moving on with this process, keep in mind that we were going to take the jail medical out of the jail and move it into an adult correction facility division under the clinic. And so if this item is approved, this will be under that division. Currently, we've made it to lunch. And so I would like to ask for recess.
Excuse me.
And how about if we make it back at 1:30? Would that be okay?
Yes.
Sure.
I think that works.
Okay.
So
well,
it's
Fine.
the intention of the
Buying
court to
lunch?
be back at 1:30. We will
You buying
recess
lunch?
for lunch.
Me? I work for budget. I don't have money.